Marina, hi, thank you for being here.
Hello, Eleni. Good morning.
You've already introduced EFT tapping into Greek schools for some time now, and I'd love to learn more about why you've introduced it into primary schools here in Greece.
Eleni, thanks for this opportunity, for giving me the chance to talk about something I felt. I heard about EFT about 15 years ago, and I just tried it on myself to find out if it was working. Well, it did. So the first thought I had back then was that I have to and I will get it in the school system. If you asked me back then how I would do that, I had no idea, absolutely no idea. But I know I would find a way somehow. I believe that there is a huge need to use EFT in the school system for all the people that are involved, both for us as teachers and for the children, and for the parents too. I have two reasons. One has to do with us as teachers, because we have to cope with many things. We are in charge of a group of up to 25 students. We have to do with their parents, with overwhelmed teachers, colleagues. We have to organize the lesson with bureaucracy. We have to do with the requests. We have to help children with everything that they cannot manage or cope. And this is quite stressing. What is more, sometimes there is no time from one incident to the other so that we can release stress. And we are usually asked to do things for others, to offer things, which is a part of our job. We have to offer. I like offering things, but we don't always get as much support as we need. So EFT is a way to support ourselves. And the second reason has to do with children. I had noisy classrooms. Children were arguing a lot. They could not self-regulate. They could not regulate their feelings or their emotions. They could not manage an argument. I felt the need to give this tool to my students, to let them know that it exists, to use it with them once or twice so that they could get the experience, they could feel their body and how they breathe. And so if they needed it, they could have the chance to use it if they wanted. Children a lot of times get stressed with the lessons and the school. They come to school with their own issues. They have to cope with many things, both at school and at their family. Sometimes a loss of a parent, a reprimand from a parent or a teacher, a need that has not been met, and many other things are a big burden for children, which they can always manage. And they don't all get the same support, and they don't get all the help they need. So it felt very important for me to give them the tool. And I also wanted to create a sense of unity in my classrooms. We know that when we use EFT, because we are connected, we feel more united with the others. And children feel that they are not on their own, that others have problems too, that they get support in a group. And they also understand that a teacher is a person too. This is my idea about what I can tell you about why I wanted to introduce EFT in school.
And the big challenge then is the how, because it's like, did you go straight to, introducing it to the whole class? How did you bridge that gap between, I know I want to, but I don't know how?
Okay, this was hard for me, and it took me a lot of time. Because at first, as I told you, I had no idea. There was no one around to help me. EFT was back then, 15 years ago, was not well known in Greece, and I knew no one who was using it in the classroom. So I had to find my own way. So I started with very small steps. There was a student who during one break, he came rushing into the classroom crying. He had a fight with his best friend, and he was sobbing. At the same time, I had to go to the principal's office, so I had no time to help him. I just asked him to tap around his collarbone, telling him that it will help me to breathe and that I will come back. When I came back, he was okay. He was feeling fine. So we proceeded with the lesson when the bell rang. And a week after that, I saw him during the lesson tapping again on his collarbones.
Wow.
I asked him what is going on. He told me that they had an English test, a test in the English lesson. So I got some feedback. And then I worked with a few children, again during the breaks, because I didn't feel safe. I didn't know how the parents would react. And that is how I gained trust on myself. The next thing I did was to follow a postgraduate course in creative writing in the Aristotelian University of Thessaloniki. I created an illustrated story and I used it to present EFT to my students. So this is what I usually do. I usually start with a video. There are some videos in the internet, and I usually use a story or a video to introduce EFT. I introduce it as a relaxation technique, and we usually try it with my students so that they can have the experience. And then it depends on the class. Some years ago, I had a class where we tried EFT, and every time I entered into this classroom, the children asked me to start with EFT. This year, I had another class. We used it from now and then, but they didn't usually ask for it, at least as the other class. I understood that they liked it because while we were tapping, they were saying, "Oh, it's so nice. Oh, it felt so good." But they didn't tell me anything else about EFT. But at the end of the school year, I heard from their mothers, the feedback came from their mothers. They told me that some of the children were using it at home. Some kids, when they are frustrated during the break, they come to me and they ask me to do with them EFT. So we tap together. I tap on myself, they tap on themselves, and I usually help them by saying some words. There are many books in the internet one can find, and there are some videos with a character called Winky. I think it's from Peaceful Heart Network, and there are no words in these videos, so one can use them as a language is not an obstacle. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. I'll share a link to that below so that primary school teachers can check it out and use it.
Okay.
What results have you observed so far?
Children are calmer, and there are also some results on their academic achievement. And this is logical because we know that the calmer we are, the easier we learn. What is obvious is that children are calmer. As calmer they feel, the more confident they become, the easier they accomplish their assignments. They can concentrate better, and when they don't have to fight with each other, or when they don't have to fight with their own emotions, they do better in everything. They also learn to express their feelings easier. This is important. And as for the teachers, I have been in some schools. I don't do a seminar or training, but I present them with all the information and the sources where they can, if they want to find out more about EFT, where they can go and look. We try it a little bit, and we work sometimes in some issues that are common to everyone. And while they have their experience, they feel very relieved. They welcome EFT, and they want to know more about it, how to use it, and how to use it then in their classrooms. So the information is spreading, and it is getting accepted.
Is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up?
I want to repeat that EFT is needed at schools for the well-being of everyone in the school system. And it is an urgent need, especially after those 2 years.
Mm.
Children were very angry this year.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much. And thanks for bringing that up because teachers, students, there's a lot of anger and a lot of frustration with the systems and the pressure that's being put on students and teachers without the support. Like you said, there isn't adequate. We need to step up support. When the challenge increases, we need to step up support. And what wonderful work you're doing here in helping spread the word about this tool that can help support teacher and student well-being here in Greece. I really appreciate you for that.
Thank you. Thank you very much.